Hey everybody, welcome to the GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Warhammer the Old World, Arcane Journal, Wood Elf Realms. Maybe my favorite one of these books so far, because in order to keep the Old World and the Age of Sigmar separate, this release includes some really old miniatures, and I mean real old. I'm so happy about it. Yeah, so let's dive in. This is, if you haven't read an Arcane Journal before, these are supplementary materials for the two big army books for Warhammer the Old World. They're not necessarily needed in order to play the game or use the armies. The core army lists are in the two big army compilations, but they add additional ways of playing the army. So in this case, you're going to get to play the Wardens of Tazlin, the Guardians of Tazlin, the Orion sort of like host. You have Wood Elf Beast Packs, Wood Elf Kindreds, and then you get the Lord of the Wilds and Wood Elf Special Magic items. Now you're also going to get two special characters, Orion, the King of the Woods, and his classic miniature, and Arcane, the Lord of Tazlin. Two new armies of renown. We get the Hunters in the Wild and the Guardians of the Eternal Groves, and these are based around those two special characters, so Orion's Wild Hunt and the Host of Tazlin. And we get the story of the Prophet and the Hunter, the corruption of Lorelorn, and the story of Alarielle and her consort, which is Orion. And for those of you who aren't sort of like familiar with the way that the lore of the Wood Elves work in the Old World, they're very much Tolkien Wood Elves, and Orion and Ariel are sort of steeped in like sort of the old sort of like Green Man Celtic traditions of the cycles of life and death and birth and the seasons. So Orion basically is reborn every spring and slowly dies out every year. Alarielle presides over the Asri that live in the woods. And in this particular time period, what's happened is, unfortunately, the Beastmen have invaded Lorelorn and done a whole bunch of damage, led by Morghur. And Morghur, of course, is the sort of like the corrupt side of nature in the Old World, tainted by chaos, and becomes this sort of like terrible winter war. So when Orion wakes, he's freaking out after what's happened to Lorelorn, and immediately calls a wild hunt to go to fight them down. And Alarielle's like, you gotta be careful, man. These ones are tricksy. Morghur's here. And this is the story being told in here. You get a custom scenario, the Prophet and the Hunter. Because Orion cared not for the cacophony of horns and war cries that surrounded his company, for his prize was finally within his reach. Only once the foul shaman had been slain would Orion even entertain the idea of withdrawing to Athelorn. So like, he's just hell-bent on purging the Beastmen. We got our color section, and this is where I just lost my mind because I was so excited. They brought back the Wood Elf Dragon. Oh, what a classic miniature. They brought back the Dryads. A ton of these lovely like 7th and 6th edition characters. This beautiful 6th edition Spellsinger, for instance. The old, that's actually the old Dryka. And then you can see more here in the corner, but you'll see more of them later. They brought back the Dryads, the Metal Dryads, which are amazing. And then the old Tree Man, although not the oldest Tree Man, who's over there in the corner, also looking real cool. So not a lot of plastic here. The infantry units and the riders, which have been kind of retired out of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, are back. But they didn't use the plastic Tree Men or the plastic Dryads because they're too kind of iconically now put into the Age of Sigmar. They brought back the old Warhammer ones instead. And I, for one, couldn't be happier. Warhawk Riders are back, man. Just a bevy. Like I'm pretty sure that's a Morrison or a Morley Wood Elf Mage there that's mounted. So great. So great. So happy to see him. Love to see it. And yeah, the old Orion's back too, and Arcane, Lord of Tazlin. So this was a plastic miniature, which was a later release, just like Wood Elf Lord miniature, but this is the original Orion. Those two hounds, though, are from the, I believe, 7th edition, 6th, 7th edition release, where they added that to his packaging. Wonderful army, and yeah, I'm excited that they're back. So let's talk about the army. So Army of Infamy, the Wild Hunt. 50% of your army must be, or may be spent on a Glade Lord per 1,000 points, a Shadow Dancer, Spellsinger, Waystalker per 1,000 points, Glade Captains. At least 25% of your army's point value must be spent on up to 1 unit of Wild Riders and Glade Riders. So this is your mounted cavalry army for the Wood Elves. Special, you can spend up to 50% on 0 to 1 unit of Sisters of Thorn per 1,000 points, War Dancers, Warhawk Riders, Wild Riders, and Wood Elf Beast Packs. And then rare, 25 can be spent on up to 1 unit of Way Watchers per Waystalker, so they have to be 1 to 1, up to 3 Great Eagles, and then Deepwood Scouts and Wildwood Rangers. Usual battle standard, and then magic item stuff that you can take. And the special rules are Chieftains of the Hunter King. Wood Elf nobles in Orion's Wild Hunt may have Talismanic Tattoo special rule for 10 points, so 6 upward. Spirit of Kurnos, 0-1 unit of Glade Riders, Warhawk Riders, or Wood Elf Beast Packs per 1,000 points can have the Furious Charge and Impetuous special rule for 10 points per unit, so making them better in melee. And then Worthy of Kurnos, after deployment before the first turn, nominate a single enemy character or single enemy model whose troop type is monster. This model has been marked for the Wild Hunt as a prize trophy. All models from the friendly Orion's Hunt Wild Army can roll any to hit rolls of 1 in the shooting or combat phase against the nominated model. In addition, you get opponent's 100 victory points if it's slain or is fleeing the battlefield when the game ends. So, yeah, love that. Just a cool mounted army, leans into the idea of the Wild Hunt and Orion himself. I'm pretty sure you can take Orion, even though it doesn't say your army can be taken with him, but yeah, like, why wouldn't you be able to? He is, after all, the big bad that leads the Wild Hunt. And then we have the Wood Elf Realms, Host of Tazlin. So in this one, you can have 0-1 Glade Lord or Spellweaver per 1,000 points, 0-1 Ancient per 1,000 points, a Warden of Tazlin per 1,000 points, up to 1 Shadow Dancer per unit of War Dancers taken, Glade Captains, Spellslingers, and Branchwraiths, and then 25% must be spent on 1 unit of Eternal Guard, because this is the Guardians of like the sort of like the royalty, and the 2 elf gods. Dryads, 0-1 unit of Glade Guard per 1,000 points, 0-1 unit of Deepwood Scouts can be taken as a core choice. And up to 50% can be spent on special. Deepwood Scouts, Guardians of Tazlin, Wildwood Rangers, and Sisters of Thorn. Up to 2 units of Treekin, which they're using the old Treeman miniature for, which I think is amazing. And up to 33% of your army can be spent on Treemen and War Dancers, and 0-3 Giant Eagles or Great Eagles per 1,000 points. Their special rules are Ancient Enemies. All units gain Hatred, Beastmen, Brighthearts, because they're fighting Morghur. In tune with nature, in addition to the lores of magic they can normally know. Wood Elf Mages, Treeman Ancients, and Branchwraiths from the Host Battalion can know the lore of the Wilds, which is later on. Protectors of the Ancient Wood. While its control is a special feature, it controls a special feature. A unit with the Host Tazlin army can reroll any to hit and 2 wound rolls of natural 1 in the combat phase, because you're defensive, like your defensive army. And then the Awakened Wood. While Host of Tazlin army is any number of Dryad and Shrieking units can have ambushers for +1 point per model. In addition, Treemen and Treeman Ancients may have the ambush special roll for +10 points per model. So you can flank attack with those guys. And let's talk about our heroes, man. It's Orion, and he is bad mamma jamma. Move 9, weapon skill 8, ballistic skill 6, strength toughness 5, 5 wounds, initiative 8, 5 attacks, leadership 10. This guy's going first all the time. 455 points. He is a monstrous infantry named character, and his war beasts are the Hounds of Orion. He's on a 50 by 50 and then 25 by 50 for the Hounds, which is interesting because those are 25 by 50. Yeah, just interesting that's not 30. Seems weird. And then you have a unit size of 3 inches, Cloak of Isha, Hawk's Talons, Horn of the Wild Hunt, Spear of Kurnos, and the Hound of Orion just have claws and fangs to count as a hand weapon. Fear, Frenzy, Immune to Psychology, Move Through Cover, Magic Resistance 2, Open Order, Stomp D3+2, Strike First, Terror, and Unbreakable. And the Hounds have Fear, Frenzy, Immune to Psychology, Magic Attacks, Move Through Cover, Open Order, Spectral Hounds, and Unbreakable. They can only be wounded by magical attacks. Oh my god. So you can't kill the Hounds because they're spectral, and they're just manifestations of his will. But you can fight him, I guess, even though he's a complete murder machine. He doesn't seem to have any armor, though, because he's just armed with the Cloak of Isha, and then the Horn of the Wild Hunt and the Spear of Kurnos. I guess he got a 5+ ward save from the Cloak. In addition, during the start of turn, roll a d6. On a 5+, recover a single lost wound lost early in the battle. So he regenerates, and he has a 5+ ward. Horn of the, I guess he is big and shirtless. Make sure he doesn't have any armor. Horn of the Wild Hunt. Once per game during the command subphase, Orion can sound the Horn of the Wild Hunt. If he does in the end of the turn, friendly units in Orion's command gain the Frenzy special rule. A unit may become frenzied even if it lost it earlier in the game. His Hawk's Talon, a 30-inch range gun with strength of his own, which is 5. Magic attacks, multiple shots, D3+1. So he's a bit of a bolt thrower. And then Spear of Kurnos. You can throw it like a bolt thrower through and through. 18-inch range, strength +1, -2 save. And in combat, strength +1, so he's strength 6, -2 save. And he's got magic attacks and multiple wounds, D3. So the spear is super dangerous. He's got a longer range shot with the bow. And we got Arcane, the Lord of Talzin. He's sort of an elf noble, so movement 5, weapon skill 8, ballistic skill 7, strength 4, toughness 3 with 3 wounds, initiative 8, so super fast with 4 attacks. Heavy armor shield and the Spear of Tazlin. Special rules are the boldest of the bold, evasive, favor the goddess, and move through cover, rallying cry, Scarin the eye thief, strike first, and stubborn. So he has strike first, which is huge. Boldest of the bold, ignore all negative modifiers to your leadership. And he's got a 5+ ward from the favor of the goddess. And Scarin the eye thief is a gun, which is basically a bird. During the command phase, roll a d6. On a 1 to 2, Scarin lingers out of reach of the enemy, nothing happens. On a 3+, he descends from the skies to strike at his master's mark. Nominate a single enemy model with an 18. That model suffers a strength 4 hit with a -1 AP. If the target suffers an unsafe wound, its weapon skill initiative are reduced by D3 to a minimum of 1 for the remainder of the game, because he stole your eye. And the spear is user strength -1 or bane 1 magic attack. So not a huge, he's more of a support character with his awesome leadership and his weird nerf bird that comes down and attacks somebody, and if they wound you, he steals your eye. Your special Wardens of Tazlin, these are your characters. They're basically elf nobles. So weapon skill 7, will skill 4, 4/3 with 3 wounds. Leadership 9. It's got Azray Spears, which is a, whatchamacallit, a unique weapon, combat strength, and then AP -1 to fight in extra ranks. But if you have an Azray Spear, during a turn which you charge, and a model in your front arc, a model wielding Azray Spear gets a +1 initiative when charging. And the idea is that you just put them in the green and white livery of Tazlin, and you use, or Talzin, sorry, and you use just regular Eternal Guard. They're like specialty units. These are pretty common in these books. These guys can also take a great weapon or additional hand weapon, can take shields, and then they can have 5 points of magic items. So mutant psychology, move through cover, parry, strike first, stubborn, drilled, elf reflexes, and courage beyond compare. If the character joins the unit of Guardians of Talzin, which is these guys, that unit gains immunity to psychology. If they leave, they lose it. And then parry, whenever fighting with a hand weapon and shield, or Azray Spear and shield, its save goes up by 1. So that's shield bonus. Let's say he's got what? Light armor and a shield. So he'd have a 5+, goes to a 4+. These guys get the same rules. Because they also have parry, move through cover, closer to drilled, elf reflexes, stubborn, and veteran. And then martial prowess. A unit with this special rule can make supporting attacks to the flank or rear as well as the front. So they fight in almost every direction. And they can take 50 points of magic items. They're weapon skill 5 elves, so just like, fightier elves with a decent armor save with their spears and light armor. So spear, light armor, buy them shields for +1 point per model. They'd be 19 points each, 4+ save. Fight in every direction. Your beast packs, they could be anything. Deepwood Hounds, Forest Cats, Sylvan Boars, or Bears of Lauren. I want to know what miniatures they release for this, because they'd be going deep in the Citadel archive to get some of these models, and I love that. And you get a Beast Keeper. He's just a basic elf dude, and you can buy him all of his monsters. Beast of the Forest. Any army can, using the Wood Elf Grand Army composition list, can use any number of beast packs as rare choices. And then run with the pack. While one or more Beast Keepers remains in this unit, the unit is not subject to the Undisciplined rule and War Beast rule, and they all got different stats. So like the cats are all, or the Forest Cats are all movement 7. Weapon skill 4, strength toughness 3, initiative 4, so the cheapest one, but the Deepwood Hounds are slightly tougher and slower, but move 9. Sylvan Boars, definitely stronger and tougher, as are the Bears of Lauren, who also have 2 wounds and 2 attacks for 20 points each. So you can take all kinds of weird things. They get Cleaving Blows if they are, I think the Bear. Yeah, the Bear gets Armored Hide 1, so 6+ save, Cleaving Blow, Fear, Motley Crew, Arm with the Pack, and Skirmishers. The Cleaving Blow is, if a model with a special roll rolls a natural 6 making a wound roll, it's a Cleaving Blow. Anyone who is a regular infantry, heavy infantry, light cavalry, heavy cavalry, war beast are not permitted an armor regeneration save. So it's kind of a killing blow, but you get a ward save against it. And the Boars get Tusks. They get their AP improved by 1 when they charge. And the Forest Cat just gets Armor Bane 1, which I think is funny. And Skirmishers if you take the Hounds. Well, they're all Skirmishers, actually. Just a neat, I don't know what you'd use for them. I hope they release some models. And then we get their Kindreds. So to represent that's communities of Wood Elves gathered in small, different sort of like groups. They can be nomadic and have these different weird Kindreds. There's the Altar Kindreds. They're the ones who like shift, so aspect of the Hound, and these can be given to your various characters. Any character adopts the aspect of the Hound, and any they join can reroll hit rolls of 1 during the combat phase. Aspect of the Bear, infantry or cavalry only. Their strength and toughness is increased by 1 for that character. Aspect of the Boar for 10 points. A character adopts the aspect of the Boar, improves the armor-piercing characteristics of their weapons by 1 if they charge and gains impact, it's 1. An aspect of the Cat for 10 points. Any character with opposite aspect of the cat gains armor bane 1 and can roll failed hit rolls during a challenge. Wood Elf Nobles and Mages only. A character that does not belong to a noble kindred may belong to the Alter Kindred. A character that does this can select one of the following. However, the units that joined this character cannot use their leadership, basically, because they're too busy freaking out protecting their animals. And the Noble Kindreds, you get the Glamour Weave Kindred. This is Elves and Nobles and Mages only. Wood Elf Mages only, get a 5+ ward save and gain the Tree Spirit special rule. Eternal Kindred, Infantry only, a character can join the Eternal Kindred. Any unit they've joined may reroll any rolls to hit of a natural 1 in the combat phase. In addition, the character belongs to the Eternal Kindred, and any unit they've joined may reroll failed wound rolls during the combat phase if they're within 6 of a special feature because they're defensive. Wild Rider Kindred for 20 points, Wood Elf Nobles only. You must be mounted on an Elven Steed or Great Stag and can only wear light armor, but you get Countercharge, Frenzy, Fierce Charge, and Talismanic Tattoos. Scout Kindred for Infantry only. A character belonging to the Scout Kindred gains the Quick Shot and Scout special rules. New lore. Signature spell is the Swirling Mist. This is the Lore of the Wild. It's an enchantment on 8+ until the start of the turn. Until the next start turn subphase, any enemy model that directs a shooting attack at the caster or any unit they've joined must reroll any rolls to hit of a natural 6. So let's reroll 6s. And we've got our 6 core spells. We've got Fury of Athalorn. It's a magic missile on a 10, 18-inch range, D3 +1 strength 6 hits with a -2 AP and multiple wounds 2. That's a great heavy infantry killer. Then we've got Ariel's Blessing. It's a 9+ with a range of 10 inches. And it'll serve your next subphase. The target gets 5+ regeneration. It's an enchantment. Spiteful Torrent. It's a magical vortex on a 10. 15-inch range. Remains in place. Small 3-inch blast template. So the hole's within 15. While in play, the template tree is dangerous terrain. It moves D6 inches in a random direction in the start turn subphase. And any unit, that the template touches or moves over takes 3d6 strength 2 hits with AP of -1. It's just a ball of bugs. Dirthy's Wrath, an Assailment on a 10+. The range is combat. Each model in the fighting rank of a unit that the casters engage with must immediately make an initiative test. And each model that fails this test takes D3 strength 4 hits with no saves permitted. Ward regenerations can be attempted as normal. Hidden Pathways, it's a Conveyance on an 8+, range 12. Until your next start of turn subphase, the target friendly unit gains the Reserve Move special rule and may perform a quick turn, even if it would not normally be able to do so. Sapping Blight, it's a Hex. Value 9+, range 12 inches until the start of the next turn subphase. The target enemy unit suffers -D3 modifier to its strength to a minimum of 1. This spell can be targeted on an enemy unit engaged in combat, and if cast, the effects of any other hex previously cast immediately expire. Cool magic items. Vol's Wrath. It is a gun, 32-inch range, strength +1, AP -2, flaming attacks, magic attacks, multiple wounds 2. And once per game, you can shoot it like a bolt thrower. Daith's Reaper for 40 points. Some of these are some classics, actually. It's strength +1, -1 AP magic attacks, and the enemy must reroll successful armor saves. We've got the Huntmaster's Pride for 35 points. This one is combat, strength -2. So just strength and then -2 AP. Magic attacks, multiple wounds 2. Can only be taken by models in the Orion's Wild Hunt Army, so it's their unique one. The multiple wounds 2 only applies against models which troop type is Monsters, Infantry, Monster Cavalry, Monster Creature, or Behemoth. So the idea is it's a monster hunting weapon. The Blade of Endless Flame for 25 points. It is a strength user, AP -1, extra attacks 1, flaming attacks, magical attacks. And then Magic Armor, it's regen 5+, light armor for 40 points. Cloak of Tumbling Leaves for 30 points. Only regular infantry or heavy infantry. It's a suit of light armor, and you get Fly 10 and Swift Stride, but you can't join a unit. So you get to go off and be a solo Superman. Talismans, you get Ariel's Favor for magic resistance -2, Orion's Favor for single use. The bearer of the Orion's Favor can reroll any failed to hit into wound rolls made during the combat phase, because he just freaks out. And then the Tapestry of Talzin for 80 points, magic standard. This is going to go on your BSB. Battle Center bearer of a hosted Talzin Army of Infamy only. A model carrying the Tapestry of Talzin increases their command range to 18 inches. In addition, friendly units within that range improve their leadership characteristic by 1 to a maximum of 10. Banner of the Wild Hunt can only be taken by Orion's Wild Hunt, and when calculating its combat results, a unit carrying this banner may claim additional +1. In addition, it can reroll pursuit rolls. So it's like a war banner, but with rerolling pursuit. Standard of the Morning's Chill, that can be cast the Swirling Mist spell with a bound level of 2. And then Banner of Springtide for 20 points, you get Quick Shot. God, I love that this guy's back. Crown of Antlers for 35 points. This is your enchant items. It gives it to where Armbane 1 and impact hits D3. And the impact hits are AP minus 2. Moonstone of the Hidden Ways for 30 points. Single use. The wearer of the Moonstone of Hidden Ways can use the Forest Walker spell at about level 3. Blight Tipped Arrows for 15 points. Single use. Only a model with an Azrael longbow. It can fire as a normal bow. If enemy models suffer an unsaved wound from a Blight Tipped Arrow, at the beginning of each subsequent start of turn subphase, they must make a toughness test. If it's failed, they immediately take a wound with no armor regeneration saves, but you can take wards. And then arcane items for 35 points. Once per turn, the bearer of the Orb of Midsummer can reroll a casting roll. What if the Orb of Midsummer is just Florence Pugh's face with a flower hat? Heartwood Pendant, 15 points. In addition to the lores of magic they normally know, they know the spells and lore of the wild. And then Sigil of the Mage Queen, 25 points, single use. The bearer of the Sigil of the Mage Queen may use, before making a cast roll, to get +2 modifier. And that's it. So, a Wild Hunt army, the return of some absolutely bonkers old miniatures. I only caught a glimpse of that one tree man. I'm wondering if that was a mistake and he's not coming back, because they didn't do like a full-on shot of them. Because they did the Dryads. I know they're coming back at some point. And I have this tree man, this old-ass tree man. I want to see those old tree men get used as... Yeah, because they're not in the wide shot. But there's one in a picture. I saw it. It's there in the corner. That's the old Durthu. I'm pretty sure. It's one of the old Morrison tree men. And I love those miniatures, but I don't see any shots of them just like themselves. So I'm really hoping they went into the production. We gotta get our hands on them. The reference cards are all of your items. So for instance, you're gonna get your magic weapons, magic armors, talismans, standards, enchanted items, weapons of Athalorn, which I actually really appreciate that they've got like the core stuff in here. And then all of your useful rules, so like the Lamentate, all the little netlings, arrows of Kurnoth, woodland ambush, like your army special rules for the Azrael longbow, rules for the bodkins, enchanted arrows, and then your woodland ambush rules. Once you finish placing terrain, they place one additional woods measuring 8 and 12 at any of its widest points. This may be placed anywhere in the battlefield. It's not in your opponent's deployment zone, and not within 12 of the middle. So yeah, handy to have. You don't need them, but like if you like being able to look at stuff quickly and a reference. And it is very handy because the bigger army books are very big, like they're big, huge honking hardcovers. It can be useful. And I do love that they brought back old miniatures. So this one honestly I think this is my favorite one so far. I like all of the Arcane Journals, but the story in this one makes me really happy. The fact they brought back a ton of old like 5th and 6th edition fantasy miniatures makes me really happy. And some 7th in there too. And yeah, it's all the theme. You can take a variety of armies, right? Cavalry, defensive, and the standard mishmash out of the core book. So we have another Warhammer the Old World one. We're winding them down. Just a couple to go and we get new stuff. Can't wait for Cathay. So big thanks for watching and for workshops this along. Till next time, Ash.